Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and start.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't want to keep you long. Hey everybody, my name is Deontay Johnson. I'm the president of Prairie A&M University's National Association of Black Journalists chapter, and we are continuing our navigating a career in journalism and media event. And today, we'll basically be talking about the bigger picture. So this is more focused on basically finding your path career wise, and especially that begins in college, maybe early high school for some, or late high school for some people. So if I can go ahead and get our speaker to introduce yourself, please.
Hey, everybody. My name is Tia Johnson. I'm currently a reporter in Kansas City, Missouri for Fox 4 News. I graduated from Prairie View in spring 2017. And yeah, this is my third TV news reporter job. I've been in the business for about 3 years.
Okay, that's great. So just to start off, when you came into PV, did you know that you wanted to become a journalist and go into like being a news reporter?
Absolutely not. I came to Prairie View as a nursing major, and I sucked at it. I was a nursing major because of the money. Like
Mhm.
everybody knows you make money as a nurse. My dad was a respiratory therapist. My stepmom was a nurse. So I'm like, I'm going to college. I'm gonna make this bread. And I had no connection to it. Like I was not passing. I took my HESI test to get into nursing school, and like I fell by a few points. And after that, that's when I was like, okay, like I'm forcing this. What do I need to do that makes me happy where I can go to class and, I'm excited to learn? And that was like, that had to be in fall because over Christmas break, I did a lot of like praying and stuff to see what I wanted to do. And then I was like, maybe I could be a good communication major. The funny thing is, when I was a nursing major, we used to talk about communication majors like they make easy A's, they ain't really doing nothing. And here I am about to become a communication. So I'm like, oh, look at me. So I became a communications major, and at first I wanted to do entertainment news, but in order to get in that, you got to get your foot in the door somehow. So I started interning. I interned at Fox 26 News in Houston. Then I interned at 104.1 KRBE in Houston. So I had the news and the radio. I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling radio. Like I want to be on TV. I want to be seen. So I interned at KBTX in College Station. And that's one thing too that people have to understand is that it's those internships that's going to get you in the door. Because I was going from, like, I would go to Fox for like they 6 a.m. shift. I'd be done by noon. I'd drive back from Houston to PB for class and doing it all over again. And then from there, I was going to College Station. I had, like the longer you, not the longer you're in school, but like when you become like upperclassmen, you don't have that many classes. So I ended up getting my schedule to the point where like I was off Tuesday, Thursdays or something. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I would go to my internship in College Station and I do that. And to me, that was like hustling for a college student because I'm driving to a different city, and like I had my internship in College Station from 2 to 10. So I'd be done at 10 and I'm driving from College Station back to PV and then have class, the next day. But long story short, I ended up saying, I'm going to do communications. I want to do news. And I interned, and then 6 months after graduation, I got my first job, and it's been up from there.
And it's funny how you mentioned when you were a nursing major, y'all used to talk about communication majors because before I transferred to PV, I was a nursing major.
Okay.
And I pretty much had the same experience as you, like changing my major. I want to say I changed my major like 3 or 4 times because I was just like, I don't know what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
I knew nursing like wasn't it. Once I started to get into those higher sciences, like I was like, I don't have time to have a life. And, nurses don't like, they do have lives, but it's just like so much of your time goes into work.
Mhm.
Um, so when you were like on that path, I know you said you prayed a lot, but what would you say like your biggest takeaway during that time was? Because I know for me, it was a very low point before I even got there. So how did you kind of make it through that to going from a nursing major to going to a communication major? Because I know a lot of people look at that like you said, it's more money in nursing.
Yeah.
um, so how did you look at that? How did you get through that? And was that a hard process?
It was hard because, you know, the only person that even my parents were like, "What are you doing?" Like my mom, my dad, and stepmom. The only part my brother was like, "I could see you doing that." My brother
Mhm.
and one of like his mentor at our church was like, "Ooh, that'd be you." Besides, everybody was like, "What are you doing?" So you know, along with me feeling like, "What am I doing?" Everybody else was
Yeah,
like, "Girl," but it just clicked for me, you know, like when I got into the classes, when I started the internships, I was happy, I was into it. And with that, and like, you know, me praying about it, I was like, this is me and I'm gonna make this happen. And that's what I did. Once I got that first internship, my mom was like, "Oh, you serious?" Like,
yeah,
she started to be proud because, you know, growing up in Houston, I was interning at stations that she watched, you know, so she's like, "Okay, you serious, like you gonna grind, like, okay, I see, you know." And I just made everybody a believer out of it, like, I'm gonna make this happen. To me, it was just, I was happy. I wasn't stressing. If I had to study, I was willing to study because I enjoyed it, and that itself made me feel like this is what I needed to do. So once I got over that little hiccup of like caring about what other people thought, I was fine.
right. And I like how you mentioned like being happy because I feel like that's what it all comes down to. When I first went to college, my whole thing was I feel like I was there to make my parents proud, but at the end of the day, I wasn't happy in what I was doing. I wasn't happy with my classes. And even like looking towards careers after I graduated, I was just looking at everything like nothing really brought interest to me. And just going off of that, mental health is like one of the biggest things we've been kind of talking about in any career, but specifically in media and journalism, because it is a ton of microaggressions you deal with today. And just being Black in that space. And then on top of that, I know you're a Black woman within like this field. So it's a very white field, a very male dominated field. So how do you deal with that? And you know, when you're having those days where you may, you know, deal with the pressure, what gets you through that?
I have to remind myself, one, why I'm in this business. Two, I get small remind. So, okay, one thing you guys learn about me, I'm a Christian girl, so I don't mean to offend anyone, but that's my story. That's me. I get small reminders from people or just different things that remind me why I'm here and why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'll be okay, thank you, Jesus, you know, for reminding me. I'll give you an example. In Kansas City, without just going into big detail. So I just started here for a month, right?
Yeah,
There's a lot of stories with the Black community here that does not make the Black community look good. But being a journalist, yes, I'm a Black woman. Yes, I'm all here for my people, but as a journalist, I cannot be biased. I have to tell both sides of the story. So even if someone is protesting against police, it is my job to still talk to police about it. I can't just talk to Susie, who's upset about something, and just get her story. I need to see what the police have to say about Susie too, because it's two sides to a story, period.
yeah,
Because of that, in just my month of being in Kansas City, I've had Black people say that I'm a sellout,
right,
using my Blackness to go against our people and have our people riding against each other. I've had one person say I am not allowed in their area because they feel like I'm pro police. Oh, recently that has been like a thought for me because I'm like, I got into this business for us. Like, I'm not a sellout and I don't like people spreading rumors or words that I am. But at the end of the day, I have to remember who I am and what I stand for. And like, their opinion of me doesn't matter. I have a job to do as a journalist and I have to do it correctly, because if I'm being unbiased or if I'm being biased, then to me, that makes Black people look bad then, because here we got this Black woman half doing her job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With that, like I said, so you have that coming from your own people that you're trying to represent and help. Also, in my last market, I was the only Black person on air at the station. That itself, to me, like, I carried a load myself knowing that, because I felt like, okay, I gotta make sure we look good. You know what I'm saying? And I just, like I said, you just gotta remember, like, who you are, why you here, and get the job done, no matter what people say. If you know your intentions are pure, it doesn't matter, you know? And so being a Black woman in this industry, it's not easy. Being a Black woman in the world, Black man, it's not easy. But you have to just remain who you are. Like, I've gotten rude emails, all that stuff. I'm just like, you just gotta kind of blow that off. And like I say, you know, I get reminders from God, because even when people are like tweeting that I'm like a sellout, someone from my old station emailed one of my old coworkers and was like, did Tia Johnson leave? And they were like, oh yeah, she left for a job in Kansas. We miss her so much. And they're like, I miss seeing her so much too. And this was a white person. So
Yeah.
this a Black person that missed seeing a person that looked like them on TV. And they screenshot it to me and sent it to me. And like, that's when I was like, okay, thank you, Lord, for the reminder that I am doing something right, despite of what other people may think of me because they don't like how I've done a story. So with all that being said, I just feel like, you know, you just remain true to who you are, remain true to your purpose, and do what you have to do. And like, you can't make everybody happy, period, in this world.
And I know one of the things we talked about yesterday is like going from market to market. So with you, you said you've been in Kansas City for a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how was that transition from one market to another? And was it like a long waiting period that it took for you to actually get that opportunity to transition somewhere else?
So, you know, in news, we have contracts. So my last job was a 2-year contract. My contract was coming to an end, which is why I started looking for a new job. So happened that I left my contract 6 weeks earlier to come here to the city. Now the process was very stressful because it's a pandemic. Not everybody's hiring, you know, and the few jobs that are open, everybody who's looking for a job is going after it. But that's why networking is important, because the same reporter that I met in 2017 interning at College Station, he was a reporter here and was like, I'm gonna send your stuff to my news director. That's how I got seen by my manager now. For me, it has been a big adjustment. I'm from Houston, but I haven't lived in a big city since since college. PV was small.
Yeah.
To smaller cities after PV for news, and here I am in like an actual big city. I forgot how to drive in traffic, you know. So that, like, driving in traffic, just the demand of news, like, stuff is actually happening here. Homicides, hit and runs, fatalities, like, the adjustment of news itself has been different from other markets where you're doing a story on a fundraiser or an event or something like that. Like, here, life is happening. And so, one, I've had to adjust mentally. And then 2, I've had to adjust to the pressure and the demand to get the stories out there and to know the stories. I mean, my first week, I did a story on a triple shooting and a 1-year-old was shot 4 times. That, like, you know, that stuff is not easy to do. You know, I still have to go home and I'm still human. And one thing I've always told myself being in news is don't become numb. Like, still be human. You know, I don't want to get to a story where I'm so focused on the story, I don't care about this woman that has lost her baby or whatever is going on, you know? So that's a thing too. Like, so much happens, you can become numb. Like, all right, another homicide. But like, no, these are, like, I went to a homicide, another one where a 15-year-old was like shot and killed, and I pulled up to the scene and his family is outside right in front of me, bawling, crying. That's hard, you know, that hard. And at the end of the day, you have to care more about them than the story. That's how I feel. Now, everybody, I'm not going to say that's a rule. But me, I'm going to get the story done, but I'm still human, and I'm still going to respect you guys the best way I can while still doing a story, because this family is grieving, you know? So, and then too, like, we want to talk to the family. So they, on top of this family grieving, I also have to walk up to you guys and talk to you and see if you want to talk to me about your loved one being shot and killed. And so to them, they might feel like you're just doing it for a story. You know what I'm saying? So you have to put on your big girl pants or your big boy pants and get the job done, because it's not easy. It's sad. Just like a doctor going into surgery, you might not know if this person can make it, you know? Same thing. So that has been a real big adjustment for me here. The demand of news and just the kind of news that's going on. It's crazy.
Okay. That was a lot, because I know, like, it's different hearing it from actual people that are within the field versus being somebody that's seeing it on TV. Because I know, like, when I personally watch the news and I hear about those stories, I don't think we are processing how it is for you all to actually be there and have to see the behind the scenes before the camera starts rolling and
Right.
things like that. So I think that's a lot to take in, especially for aspiring reporters and journalists, because sometimes it's, like I said, it's easy for us to look at that from the other side and be like, oh, this is easy. You just go in there, get a story, and come out.
Yeah.
So when you're like dealing with that, like you said, you can walk up to a family and they may say, oh, you're just here because you're trying to do your job. You want us for a story, or whatever the case may be. How do you kind of navigate that situation, like reassuring them and letting them know, like, you know, like, yes, you are here for a story, but at the same time, it's important for us to get that information out, because it just, I guess, it reminds the community that we need to do better, and, you know, we need to move past all this senseless violence and things like that. So how do you navigate a situation like that?
Once again, back to every day I pray, like, Lord, whatever story I get, somehow let it bring, you know, something good to your kingdom, or show people who you are through me in some kind of way. Like, let your will be done in the story. When I reach out to people, you know, I'm like, hi, such and such, you know, my name is Johnson. I'm a reporter. I know that your son died, you know, we want to help you guys find the killer. And the best way to do that is to keep the story out here in the limelight and continue to remind the community that your son's killer is still out there. You know, you write them and say that you're trying to help them get justice. Or you can say, we want to help you remember who your son was. We want to share your son or your daughter with this community, you know, or whatever, in that way. And it's also about your approach. Me, I'm big on, after I talk to someone, I try to stay connected.
Right.
Like, how's it going? You know, how, you know, all of that stuff. That way, you know, that's me as a human, how I am, but also I'm not using you just for a story. I'm not going to come to your house, talk to you while you grieving, and then leave like, all right, boop, got my story. You know what I'm saying? That I try to make sure I let people know I'm here for them. So that's what I do.
All right. And another thing, this one of the questions that I asked you. So as far as like your own personal goals within your career, where do you see yourself going, like career aspiration wise? Like, where do you see yourself going? Is reporting where you're comfortable at, or do you want to progress within the industry?
I would love to be a reporter in Houston or Dallas after. After I get back there home, which is Texas, I'll see if I want to go network. I don't know yet. I just want to get back home and see what it's like to report home, and see if I want to move forward with working for CNN or ABC News, CBS. I don't know yet. But right now, the main goal is I want to get back home.
Right. So I guess the last thing before I open it up for questions. So when I know, like, one of the things that you're talking about is Houston, you know, you want to be back home in Houston. So how is it like navigating a career? Because I know once we leave college, me personally, I'm from Dallas. My family just moved to North Carolina. And the hardest thing for me to process is knowing that I'm probably not going to be able to go back to Dallas career wise. And North Carolina, it really isn't a strong market for what I want to do. So how do you deal with the I guess the emotions of being on your own without family and things like that?
I stay connected to them as much as possible. I talk to my mom every day. I talk to my boyfriend all the time. I like make a meal. If I think about them, I'm gonna text them.
Yeah,
You know, I talk to my dad. I text my stepmom. I mean, I miss home a lot. I'm not gonna say not as much here, but it's easier here to like be a little more happy because I'm in a city where stuff is going on versus the other two places I were, which was Green Bay, nothing going on, and then Lufkin, nothing going on. Now I have a life and I don't have to miss home as much because I'm busy doing other things besides like working. But I stay connected to them, and you know, for you, you gotta go where you gonna glow. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Home is home. Your family where they at, they ain't going nowhere. Which
yeah,
easier said than done. When I was in Green Bay, I lost one of my close cousins to cancer, and I was like, I'm not home while she's like dying. That
yeah,
that sucked for me, but she understood. Like I'm just trying to, you know, get to my dreams, make my dreams happen and stuff. With that being said, I'm saying like, you know, you got to go where you're going to go to do what you want to do. I feel like so many people that become comm majors, they don't grind as hard as they should. And then when they graduate, they like, okay, what am I going to do? So they become teachers or they become everything else than what they really wanted to do in college, because it's not easy. Like this, what we want to do is not easy. You know, you have to
yeah,
grind and you gotta like know people, and you know some people want to be film directors and they want to be writers. Like it's, you can do it, but you have to put in the work, you know. I always say like how we were talking about like, oh, calm HSA, it's easy for them.
yeah,
I always tell people like it's easy for us in school, but when we get out in the real world, that's when we have to start grinding.
yeah,
Like for all of y'all on here, like I just want you to know, like you can reach those goals. Those dreams can happen, but you have to work hard. It's not easy. It's not. And no offense to Prairie View, but other HBCUs or schools have really big broadcast journalism departments where they have news stations or they have just the equipment or different stuff that can really help you get to whatever it is you want to do. We don't have that at PV. We got to grind. And like, that's all I can say is like, the sky is the limit. Like, don't feel like, okay, I'm about to graduate and I want to do this. How I'm going to do it? Like, you can do it, but you're going to have to really put yourself out there and just be like, I ain't worried about what nobody else doing. Like, I'm just going to grind, you know, like, and I keep saying grind, but that's really what you have,
yeah,
because you can't let fear stop you. You can't let what people say stop you. You know what I'm saying? I just told y'all how like nobody was like, what are you doing? You know, like everybody was like, what are you doing going into comm? Like that was unknown. But now everybody be like, my cousin on the TV, y'all, you know what I'm saying? So it's all obtainable. Like you can do it, but you just have to like work toward it. So I don't know nobody else's story on here, but for you saying like, okay, what I want to do is not in North Carolina. Maybe you don't need to go to North Carolina after you graduate. I'm sorry, family. It's been real. I see y'all for the holidays, but I gotta go here where I can make these dreams happen. Period.
and
So
I think that's a huge thing because, like you said, you have to go away from, you have to go towards where you're going to be successful, basically. Because a lot of us we end up graduating and we get stuck because while we were in undergrad, we didn't take the time out to work as hard as we should or get those skills and network properly. So then we graduate and we get stuck at home, and then we get stuck in a cycle of doing something that makes us
right.
comfortable. And like you said, we end up teaching or doing something completely different from what we planned on originally.
And
And
it's no shade to people.
Oh yeah,
you know where that happened, but I know people where what they doing now is not what their hearts
yeah,
did. And I used to always tell people when I was on campus, I used to always say, baby, it's a difference between being PV famous and you actually out here grinding.
right.
You could be hosting a talent show and got all the likes and people think you popping, but that ain't gonna get you nowhere once you cross that stage.
Right.
Sorry, like a lot of people be PV famous, and when you leave, where that's at.
Yeah.
So,
Cause yeah, that's basically how it ended up with my cousin. And I talk to her all the time because I'm like, okay, I'm trying to avoid that after I graduate, because she went into teaching and then she hated it because it wasn't what she wanted to do. And I think that's just like the biggest thing is, being confident in the path that you're on, and like you said, grinding. And I think people expect easy results, and like you said, you have to really get out here and grind and put your best foot down, and just like whatever happens, you either gonna take a blow and have to get back up, or you're gonna make it to that next step. But I'm gonna go ahead because I'm gonna start talking. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up for questions. So for y'all in the Zoom call, if you have any questions, this will be your time to ask them now. Okay. So, okay. Okay.
I was wondering how you got into the internships, because I've been having internships, but they're just in like the corporate world. So they're like at an office, but I want it actually in a news station so I can get the real experience of that. So how do you go about that?
So I don't know what it's like now because of the pandemic, but before all of this, so if you're at PV, I would say try to intern in College Station because it's like 30 minutes away. They offer internships at KX and KBTX. All you have to do is go on the station website, look for internships, or look for a news director. That's the head honcho in charge. I will shoot an email with the subject line saying internship opportunities and introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Tia Johnson. I'm a senior at PVAMU University. I'm really hoping to get some hands-on experience in the news industry. Do you have any internship opportunities available? Boom. I don't know where you're from, but like when you go home for the summer, whatever stations are close to there, try to intern there. So like it's October. So you could maybe do an internship for College Station, possibly for like the spring. And then when you get home, go to some news stations or radio, whatever you want to do, and intern there while you at home. That's what I did. Once I became a comm major, I interned almost every semester. So I didn't intern, I don't remember what, it must have been that spring I became a comm major. I didn't intern that spring because I had just became a comm major. But after that, I started interning because I was like, I got to get some type of experience. And you know what a lot of people do at PV, you have to have an internship. I think it's still like that. You have to have, like, that's part of your credits, an internship. What a lot of people will do is they'll just intern on campus or intern for the newspaper, which is cool and all, but like, get yourself out there, like, actually go out there and get some internships in the field. So that's what I did. I was just reaching out to news directors and stuff. And there's applications that you could do to get the internship and all of that. So that's what I did.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
I'm sorry. Can she leave her email in the chat? Is it already in there? Or?
Oh, it's not. Okay. Hold on. So my email is tia.johnson@fox4 KC. fox4kc.com. And all my social media is Tia Johnson. And I follow back. But yeah, I mean, if you guys don't want to ask me questions right now in front of people, I'm an open book, so feel free to shoot me an email or follow me and DM me or something. I'm always trying to help out fellow Panthers and stuff because we got to stick together.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you to you for taking the time out of your night to speak with us, because I know it's a Friday. And
I was like, how long is this going to be?
yeah, I know it's a Friday. People want to go. They want to go do stuff. But yes, thank you so much for talking to us. We really appreciate you. And we wish you the best in Kansas City. And yeah, we'll be reaching out to you soon. I'll share your contact info with the group chat within NABJ and the comm department if anybody wants to reach out and ask you questions. And thank you all for taking the time out of your Friday night as well to be here and listen to us talk. For those of you that came late, this video is recorded, so I'll hopefully have it up by tomorrow, so y'all can go watch the beginning of it. But thank you again. I hope you have a great night, and everybody else as well. Stay safe.
Thanks for letting me be a part. I appreciate you reaching out to me. I love how like the comm department is starting to reach out to grads from Prairie View that are doing stuff or in the field, because I was in school, we would have people coming back that was like not from PV, and I'm like, you don't understand what we going through.
Yeah.
Talking to somebody that actually was in the same classes as me and stuff. So like I said, I'm always here to help. I just graduated 3 years ago, so I ain't like
yeah.
I understand. So yeah, thank you again for the opportunity. And you all be great. Like the sky's the limit for real. Just go out there and get it.
Thank you, thank you. So I'll let everybody go. And good night.
All right, bye y'all.
Thank you.
No problem.